Greetings. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. Hope you guys are doing well during this vacation of ours. Okay. Yeah, daylight stream. All right, so basically, this video isn't so much about the astral plane as much as what I've been studying because it looks like many things are pointing to the astral plane. Greetings, Upper Unicorn. Good to see you. Always. What's good? What's good? So, I've been doing a lot of study, as always, but ever since reading these Ophiel books, I come to see that there is a large focus on the importance of the astral realm. Okay, now, astral projection and astral travel has always been in the periphery, but nothing that I really took super seriously, right? So, after reading The Art and Practice of Astral Projection again recently on live, I started to take it more seriously and take more consideration to it. And I come to realize I didn't have a proper framework for really digging into it as deeply as I should. So I switched my entire focus to studying the astral plane. And recently I purchased and opened up, maybe 10 books on the subject to really dig down to find a practical method of reverse engineering this technology so that, I could explain it to a 5-year-old. And if they have sufficient desire to do such a thing, then it can be done. So, just real quickly here. Really, what I've been digging into back and forth is a course that could do with the astral plane. So, I checked out this book by Francisco Asanio, and it does a really good job so far of kind of just laying down some of the principles of the tree and not being so freaking cryptic like the other books. Another good one is The Circuit of Force by Dion Fortune. And this really talks about how to balance your energy when dealing with these higher realms in the physical realm. There has to be a connection between the higher and the lower, and it has to be in a circuit, in a battery, right? It can't just be you pulling energy down from the divine, and it can't just be you giving energy up because that's imbalanced and you're going to burn yourself out one way or the other. Now, Astral Doorways does an excellent job of really just breaking down, how the astral plane is structured and easy visualization techniques to get there. It really reminds me of the Ophiel book in a lot of the techniques. And of course, I keep going back to Franz Barth, Initiation into Hermetics. I keep going back to this because the more that I'm learning in these other books, the more this one is making sense. Okay. And one thing to really clarify is that the astral body is not the same thing as an aura. All right. A lot of people say that they can read auras and whatnot, and that's cool. But really, the aura is just the effect of different elemental energies within your mind, right? That's not the astral body at all. You've got the soul and you got the physical body. The astral is kind of like the glue in between the soul and the physical body. And if you're able to transition your consciousness into the astral, you start to see that it deals more with the Akasha principle. Okay. What I mean by that is the universe hermetically is still layered from spiritual plane to mental plane to emotional plane to physical plane. So that means the cause goes up at the spirit and trickles down. Greetings, 305 Capricorn. I see you every time. By the way, I've been doing a lot of astral travel, and a lot of you guys, including you, have been showing up in my dreams as well, right? It's very interesting. I won't speak too much on that, but yeah. Essentially, thought generates energy and then it manifests on the emotional plane, which is equivalent to the etheric plane. Now that generates enough density and it becomes something physical. Anyways, I've been doing all this study to really develop somewhat of a background so I can get to this book, right? But I'm telling you, this has to be spiritual because I just got it today and it came all ripped up in the back, including missing some pages. I'm going to have to write to Amazon about that. But as far as I could see, this was like the only copy that was there, and I couldn't find any more. So I don't know. Makes me wonder. So just what book is this? Practical Techniques of Astral Projection. I guess too many pages aren't really ripped out, but still, that freaking sucks. But anyways, it really seems like with us being in the type of time we are, this whole Aquarian age type deal, this type of thing is becoming a lot easier today than it was years ago. So honestly, just giving you guys just a little bit of an update of where I've been with this whole thing. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about stuff that you've been studying, I wouldn't mind answering some of those if you would be so kind to share them with me. But to do so, let's go down to the studio. Descending into the subconscious realms. Okay, let's see what we have. Greetings, Harmony 9, Emily Lee. Welcome. Paulina, good to see you. Chels, Harv Harry, Tree Marie, greetings. Lee Marie, greetings. Another person that I've seen in my dreams. Arts by Cash, what's up? Naughty Little Girl, good to see you. Stardust, Ingrid Johnson, DeAsia Divine Jewel, peace. Abe Deuce, Gemma Thorne, good to see you. Joanne Williams, Ade Odukoya, Bunny Queen, of course. Bunny Queen says, can't tell you've been studying, grew a whole beard. Books were good. Yeah, man. I've been on my 2 days on, 1 day sleep. And yeah, it gets pretty heavy. But this time I decided to go on a fast because I had a specific question. And until I got that question answered, I wasn't going to eat anything. And in doing so, it kind of helped because I remembered that not having food in your stomach really helps the body feel lighter, and it aids in astral projection, so that's a good thing. Golden Dragon God 999, greetings. TY, Jamal Wack. Yeah, Arts by Cash says the only copy with pages missing, nothing suspicious at all, right? And I knew the book was coming today, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a video about it. And my roommate brings it upstairs while I'm reading, and I'm like, awesome. And I flip it around, and it's like ripped up, and I'm like, clearly something to it. Okay, Brown Nature 9 says, I've been studying the Magician, and I want to know if it's not the same as basic magic. Ultimately, the principles of that book are the same. Ultimately, the concepts of that book are the same. Ultimately, you're going to get the same message. But because it's two different books of different lengths, there's different stuff in it. But if you read the book, you're going to get the same thing out of it. I wouldn't get so hung up on that specific title. The real information that you're going to get is in between the lines. For someone like me, I like to cross-reference between different books. And there are things in other books that you may not get in that one. So don't get so hung up on one thing. What's good? Oh, look, it's back. Awesome. Okay, where were we? Justina B. King David, good to see you, bro. Hanifa, wholeness and balance. Vibrate with Venus, good to see you again. Bunny Queen says it get dangerous when I fast because you get some in the divine realm. You forget about your vessel down here very easily. Yes. And Initiation to Hermetics talks about that, as well as astral doorways. And you know that just doing it, you can kind of pick up why. because there are some realms in the astral that are way better than the physical world. And for those of us who already know how much the physical world sucks, it can be quite tempting to spend more time there than we have to spend here in the physical world. So as a result, you start getting more and more disillusioned with real life. This is why it's important to have that balance. Like in the Circuit of Force book by Dion Fortune, it talks about you've got to have an earthly balance when you're doing this higher spiritual knowledge. This is why people who hear about chakras and they're like, oh, I'm going to open up my third eye. That's when you do that, you're imbalanced. There's a reason why you start from the root chakra and move up, or start from the crown and move down, right? You don't want to start in the middle, but you got to have balance, because it's very easy to, like I said, become disillusioned with some of the wonderful things that you see. And honestly, when you start astral traveling, astral projecting, or using your creative visualization, and you get caught up in different realms that are more fun and more beautiful, and you start like not wanting to go back home, that's kind of a problem. So you want to slow down, you want to add balance, right? You want to ground yourself, because if you don't, it can be very tempting to subconsciously search for ways to sever that connection between body and soul, right? Now, people have done this, and it's been tempting for me myself, but you got to have a balance, because there's a reason why you're here. Mine's mutable. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay, Brown Nature 9 says, what book do you recommend on alchemy? I would say go ahead and get initiation into hermetics, right? What's your intention for reading about alchemy? What are you trying to get out of it? That's a better question, because the word alchemy means something different to you than it does to me. I promise that. But if you mean what I think you're trying to say, I'd get initiation into hermetics. Hanifa says, do you recommend any breathing techniques? Yes, I'd recommend paying attention to your breathing, going in and out. Of course, it gets more complex as far as like breathing through one nostril and in, out, out, this, that, and the third. You can easily research those on Google, but don't even attempt those if you're not able to concentrate on your breathing in and out in regular meditation. So in reading all these books, one of the things that I find is way more important than any visualization technique, than any demon or any method, is you got to be able to focus. You got to be able to hold your concentration for more than 3 minutes. Now, I know that sounds mundane and basic and simple, but if you can't do that, you might as well stop reading about this other shit. You might as well quit. It doesn't serve you, and you know you're not doing it right. So the main thing is to practice holding your focus, okay? Now, one easy way to test how good you are at holding your focus is to close your eyes and get comfortable and just count and visualize the numbers as you count. 1, 2, 3. And you do that until a thought pops into your head and you start to get a little bit distracted. Most people aren't going to be able to get to 5 before that distraction pops in, right? Experienced occultists might make it to 10. And it takes some extreme practice focus to get beyond 10. Yeah, most people are honest enough to admit that they don't have that much of a focus, but like I said, the main important thing is to practice your focus, is to practice how long you can hold it before getting distracted. Easier said than done, but that is a prerequisite when it comes to creative visualization, astral projection, magic, and all that good stuff. So one good way to start practicing your focus is to start with basic shapes. All right, if you can visualize a square or circle or triangle, just hold that image in your mind. If you can hold that image in your mind and see it without getting distracted, without it wobbling and fubbling and whatever else, you're doing a pretty decent job. The next step after mastering that will be to imagine a 3D image, a cube, right? Look at the cube, rotate it in your head, expand it, contract it, right? Then take it a step further and look at the cube from all angles. While this sounds mundane and basic, this is the foundation for developing clairvoyance and developing your astral sight. Don't knock it because it sounds so simple. Because if you can't do this for more than 5 minutes, I don't mean just close your eyes and see a cube. Oh, I'm good. No, hold it. Hold that focus. Can you hold that focus for a straight up 5 minutes? Right? Everyone can envision a cube, but can you hold that image in your head? Right? Get your little phone timer. I use an app that every time you do a time without using your phone, it plants a little tree for you. Right? Get you some kind of app, set you a time limit, sit down where you're not going to be bothered, and visualize something simple. Hold it. And if you're able to hold it for 5 minutes, take it a step further and start to develop on your other senses. Smell the cube. What does it smell like? Touch the cube, touch the surfaces, right? Feel it. Is it bumpy? Is it smooth? Does it feel like an orange peel? Does it feel like fur, felt, right? Throw your consciousness into the perception of this sense. Through practice, you begin to develop these senses. Now, what happens is that by repetition, you begin to become more aware of these senses through your dreams. Now, if it's during imagination, it starts to become second nature. Some people do this already and don't even realize it that they're doing it. But there's many ways to use your mind. But like I said, if you haven't been able to develop concentration, then yeah, you might want to get started with that. Framestar Films says middle pillar ritual, great for balance also. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Anything golden, anything Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn related will be great for your learning in this field. Okay, I'm looking for other questions here in the chat. Universal Content says, is chakra removal legit? My question to you is, why would you even want to do that? I'm not saying it's good or bad or legit or not legit. Why is that something that you're interested in focusing your attention on? Does that sound like anything that's going to enhance your spiritual understanding? If you were to ask me, I'm going to stand by the 3 main principles that your attention should be focused on when doing occult study, and that is meditation, that is the 7 Hermetic principles, which is the Kabbalion, and that is the Kabbalah. With these 3 things as your central focus, everything else will fall into place. There's nothing outside of those 3 things. Anything else will fall into one of those 3 categories. So before you get too lost and too sidetracked in some wild new theory or practice that somebody came out with, because many people are trying to get attention on the internet. Many people want your money. Many people want your attention. But those same people may or may not be there for your best interest. They might not be there to help you grow or help you. So it would behoove you to focus on getting better at meditation, which is holding your focus, which is if you don't have focus, you're not going to be able to do anything else effectively. Learn the 7 Hermetic principles, because these are basic instructions before leaving Earth. The 7 Hermetic principles, even God must obey. So that should show you just how important that is. And the Kabbalah is a framework of understanding. Chaos magic tells us nothing is true, everything is permitted. So there isn't one practice that is 100% everything, or there isn't another practice that is complete bullshit. It doesn't exist. Nothing is true, but everything is permitted. We understand magic through frameworks. And if your framework is faulty and fucked up, you're not going to get the deepest understanding. So the Kabbalah is a tried and true system of understanding the universe. And it wasn't invented by Jews. It wasn't invented by any specific race of people. It's been here much longer than recorded civilization. Something else that should point to how important it is. Everything else may have just come up last year or within the last 50 years or the last couple 100 years, right? So all that other stuff came out of those main 3 things that I mentioned. So about your chakra removal, look into it. If your spirit is telling you to do it, But I would also analyze just to make sure that you're not chasing some spicy new trend, because there's a lot of spicy new trends out there. And then furthermore, how are you going to remove a chakra? You can't even touch it. You don't even know where it is. It's an energy vibration. It's an expression of energy. How do you remove that? How can you remove something that you can't create? You got to ask these questions, man. Let's continue. Hanifa says, you also need to get the companion book to Initiation of Hermetics, Brown Nature. Yeah, you know, if you're going to get serious about it. But I would get the main book first because, you know, another person is asking about Midnight Gospel. I can't do it. Putunya77 says, peace and light, your videos and wisdom have been so helpful. Thank you for giving me a reason to do this, right? Question, says Matthew Watson, do you think by us doing this work, we will merge the physical with the higher planes? Absolutely. But rather, the higher planes are already merged with the physical. It's already done. You're not doing anything here on the physical plane except accepting reality, right? Everything's already done. The higher plane is already merged with the lower plane. You just haven't accepted that yet. You haven't realized that yet. And even if I tell you, you're not going to understand it. You have to experience it yourself. And this is what magic does. This is what the occult science does. It removes from our eyes the bullshit that blocks truth. Light is ever present. The truth is ever present. You're not doing anything new on the physical plane. The physical plane is the ultimate realm of effect. The realms of cause are those realms above, right? Namely the etheric plane, the astral plane, the mental plane, the spiritual plane. That's where the realm of cause happens. Effect trickles downward, right? There's a deeper meaning for you even being here in this chat on my video, right? Because in the higher realms, time and space don't exist. You have a purpose and a method. You are where you are for a reason, and you're learning what you're learning today to get you where you're supposed to be. But on the higher planes, you're already there. This is just a channel or a pathway to get you through there as you float through time. I hope that didn't sound too loaded and bogus. Behoove. Bunny Queen says chakra removal is just locking you down emotionally, and you'll put more blockages on yourself because you let someone else have control over your emotions and mind. Sirah, thank you. I appreciate you. Oh goodness, technician for real. Thank you. Thank you for that donation. Paulina Shalapova says, the Kabbalah book you mentioned earlier, is that a bit easier to digest than Fortunes? That one is so meaty, I can't chew it all just yet. Okay, so honestly, yeah, the one that I mentioned is going to be easier to digest. However, the Mystical Kabbalah by Dion Fortune is extremely comprehensive. She goes to great lengths to express everything she possibly can about the tree of life. The order that she belongs to has been very pivotal in mining for the data about this subject. So I wouldn't choose one book over Mystical Kabbalah. I would still say get Mystical Kabbalah, because if you take the Kabbalah seriously at all, the Mystical Kabbalah will be a foundational text. But just to get an understanding, to jump into the water, yeah, I would definitely check out this other book. It's a little bit easier to swallow. Greetings, Sankofa Sound. I appreciate you, Chels. Let me know if there's something you'd like for me to talk about. Just trying to answer a few questions here before I go back to my study. Can of Mana, greetings from Africa. Greetings. Trinity Reviews, peace. Sankofa Sound says, how you feel about astral realms and astrological prediction? Originally, I would like to ask you to clarify your question, but if you're asking me, how do I feel that astrological realms relate to the astral realm? I would say that the astrology science is a good way of expressing how the astral realms work, because the realms are stacked like a pancake: the physical realm, the etheric realm, the astral realm, and the mental realm. And intent presses downward and it manifests, culminates in the physical realm. So everything here on the physical is an expression of the realm above it. And it is an expression of the realm above it. And that continues until we get to the source, which is another reason why I say what I said earlier. The higher realms and the lower realms are already in harmony. You just haven't figured that out yet. And that's the whole process of know thyself. What are you knowing? You're knowing the truth, you're knowing reality. But to get back to your question, the different planets and stars and things of that nature, it's not that Mars is exerting a masculine active force. The motion and placement of the symbol of Mars also symbolizes the energy that's present on the astral realm. So as that energy presses down into the etheric, it starts to shape a pattern that manifests on the physical plane. So looking up at the stars is a very basic and mundane way of predicting the weather as far as the astral plane is concerned. Now, just think about it. The stars and the planets move in a predictable fashion. We know where the stars and the planets are going to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now. They're going in a static order, not dynamic. It's not changing. And everything below is affected by the motion of these stars. In other words, yeah, prediction is entirely possible if you know how to read energy. We live in the realm of effect. The planets, or rather what they represent, lives in the realm of cause. So if you would like to enact change, you have to do so from the realm of cause. But it starts to become a paradox, right? If everything is the way that it is already, there's nothing to do. So truly, in becoming a powerful magician, it's not that you're becoming this wizard that knows how to manipulate everybody around you. No, you're simply aligning with cause. And when you align with cause, everything else aligns with cause. There's no enemies. There's nobody that's out to get you. There's no, they're gonna do this to us. We gotta meditate at 3 o'clock to stop the vaccinations. None of that shit. Everything's in divine harmony. Your panic and your worry and your fear does nothing but keep you under the unforgiving thumb and boot of the world of cause and effect. The Kabbalion is very, very integral text that helps to just explain this process. Today I was also reading the chapter 11 about the law of rhythm. If you have the Kabbalion, I'd recommend going and checking out the chapter about the law of rhythm. It talks about how as humans, we're kind of stuck in this sea of cause and effect, right? The moon and the stars do all this stuff and our emotions get all excited and we get horny and we get mad and we get sad and we get lonely and we're pushed by the causes that affect us. As above, so below. Now, a proper magus knows how to elevate himself above the realm of effect to the realm of cause. In other words, he knows how to elevate himself above the hormones, above running towards pleasure and running away from pain. He rises above fear, rises above the need to, we gotta tell the people, we gotta save the world. I'm gonna forward this COVID-19 thing to everybody on my Facebook Messenger because we gotta share the truth. You rise above that nonsense, because in 3 months you're gonna look back and be like, damn, I look like an idiot forwarding all these posts because I was scared. I'm still here. But again, not to call anybody out because I don't have time to judge anybody. And I understand that when you're still stuck in the realm of cause and effect, you're literally not in control of anything you do, but you're allowing that. So what I would suggest is to start getting control over your emotions, getting control over your impulses so that you're not controlled by your flesh and by your hormones. I was there at one point. Everybody was there. This is how humans start out, right? Let's see what else we have. Appreciate you guys tuning in with me here at whatever time it is, 2:40. I don't remember how long I've been awake, but I feel rejuvenated because I've been practicing some sweet breathing techniques, right? Sankofa Sound says Dion Fortune is Golden Dawn. She is part of a group that branched off from the Golden Dawn. So yes, she trained heavily with Israel Regardi, who is absolutely Golden Dawn. Donovan D, greetings. I almost joined that group, but somebody talked me out of it, and I'm glad he did. Brown Nature says, the world, especially carbon beings, are searching for knowledge, and don't you think these orcs are providing more nonsense books to mislead us? Maybe, maybe not. I don't have time to worry about that. You have to understand that your intent is more pure than any plot that may be set against you. Unless your intent is not that pure and plots that are set against you will ensnare you. That's your reality if that's what you want. But as far as I know, I've learned that I can derive the truth from anything. It doesn't matter if somebody wrote it in a book and they're telling the truth or they're telling a misleading lie. If you learn to develop intuition and you learn to stay firm to your intent of learning, number one, you can learn from anything. And number two, like I said, this is the realm of effect. If your intent on the realm of cause is strong, you're only going to attract the things that will benefit your path. Stop worrying about problems and traps and, oh, they're doing this to us. Please get out of that way of thinking. It's not conducive for you in this new age. And you can continue to do that, but you're going to find that as we progress further and further in this Aquarian age, you're going to manifest a very difficult life for yourself because the truth is going to be presented to you and you're going to be worried about, can I trust it? Can I trust the messenger? It is this and that. You're wasting time. Focus on getting the truth. Don't focus on the orcs or whatever you want to call whatever imaginary villain you have. And that's not coming from a place of talking down. That's coming from a place of trying to save you some time, because you're going to find out eventually, right? You know. Harmony 9 says, hey Trav, do you think it's important to have a physical altar? Because after reading Cyclomancy, I feel that I can just do so much with my mind. And plus, the first Hermetic law is all is mental. That's very true. But examine your intention on this question. Is it just because you don't want to do it for whatever reason? Because if that's the case, nuh-uh. Go ahead and get you an altar. But we have to remember, these things are symbolic. It's not the altar that has the power. It's you being able to focus your mind on some type of external symbol to evoke certain energy. Now, yeah, truly, all is mind. All is your mind. But you don't know that yet. You can repeat it from a book, but you don't know that yet. You don't know unless you prove it to yourself. A baby knows that it can walk, but it stands up and falls over on its face. And it has to crawl and it has to practice and practice until it can eventually do it. You got to go through the trials and tribulations of proving it to yourself. You don't need the Goetia to make change. Most people make change without the Goetia, but using the Goetia is somewhat of training wheels for your clairvoyant, omnipotent, omniscient abilities, right? You use the Goetia to make things happen, right? And eventually, as you're using them, you're like, holy shit, I'm doing all this. This is all coming out of my head. Wow. Then you can dispense of them, right? I can't just tell you that and you just do it. You have to go through the process and prove it to yourself. Now, there's pitfalls along the way, and I don't mean some demon backfiring and fucking up your life. I mean you picking one and worshiping it. Oh, King Payment is just so wonderful, and I devote my life and I've sold my soul to this demon. Don't do it, because these things are only extensions of yourself. As I mentioned before, you got the physical plane, you got the etheric plane, the astral plane, the mental plane. These entities represent energies pressing down that you can access through the sigils or through working with them, right? But ultimately, these things are parts of you. They're not parts of this person with an ego and defects. No. Even that thing is a part of you. The real human being is the soul. All this stuff is part of the soul. And that's what you're trying to figure out. Just like I have to interact with you guys, or I have to interact with my environment, this is the way that soul interacts with self. This is why we're all one. This is why on the higher planes, we're all the same thing. But since we're in the realm of effect, there was an initial cause. And that initial cause, who can be so lofty to guess what it actually was? But I'm thinking it has something to do with experiencing love, experiencing learning or whatever. That cause trickled down and reflected and separated and fragmented until we have what we have here, this school of life. But ultimately, it all comes from one source. The goetic spirits and you come from the same source. You and the orcs, or whatever you call them, it all comes from the same place. Even science tells you that, right? And also about the altars, when you look at the etheric realm and the astral plane, those realms reflect downward, and the physical plane reflects what was on the etheric, and the etheric reflects what's on the astral. So by making an altar, you kind of have somewhat of a nexus point, right? This nexus point is also in the etheric and in the astral, and this becomes a point of magnetizing certain types of power, right? So to have one in your presence helps you to symbolically connect with that power, because on the astral plane, it is purely vibration, but see, our mind works differently there. When our mind encounters that vibration, it turns our thoughts into images, and it turns our feelings into forces. So when you see things on the astral plane, you're seeing what your mind has interpreted. So just because someone might come to you in a dream as Mickey Mouse doesn't mean that it's just, oh, a laughable, funny thing. It represents a very serious feeling. So to have an altar that you work with symbolizes something to you on the astral plane as well. Now, you make that decision, you make that call, but I've got a video about altars which you can easily search for, where I go a little bit more in depth on that. Where we at? What's good, Foresight 10? Can of Mana asks, is vampirism ethically wrong, or is it dog eat dog? I recently started practicing it and it helped me with anxiety. It's what you make it. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, as a magus who studies stuff, I think it's healthy to have a balance of all things. I take it very seriously, as it works when you know how to do it. As far as ethics are concerned, again, I would refer you to the Kabbalion, the chapter on the principle of rhythm. Anybody asking about, is it good, is it evil? Look at the Kabbalion and look at the chapter on the principle of rhythm, right? If you're in the world of rhythm, you're getting swung to and fro. If you're above the world of rhythm, you're doing the swinging. Read that chapter. Gerald Sombright, greetings. Good to see you. Roger A says, yo, what's up? I want to hear about the relationship between waves and particles. Well, it was a rocky relationship. They met each other in high school, and they didn't like each other at first, but, you know, waves grew titties and curves, and then particles was like, oh, yeah. Siraj says, so I have been visualizing a cube rotating, and as it rotated, a separate image of a book appeared in my mind's eye for a fraction of a second. I felt like I opened a portal in my mind through the cube. Very good. However, no. focus on one thing for 5 minutes and stop getting distracted. Nara says, oh, astral plane. Now this is going to be fun. Yeah. This is more of a primer. We're not getting to it yet. I'm still formulating a lot of things and gathering my notes. But man, I just can't shake this feeling that so many more people are going to have a lot of an easier time exploring this side of self. And I'm happy to be at the point where I can, you know, help clarify some things if necessary. Smooth Shaddai, I agree with you. I also try not to recommend those books too flagrantly. That's just me. Ooh, Bunny Queen says, just wait till we talk about how to merge your astral and physical sight. Yeah, hopefully we can get to that point. Hopefully. I try not to go too fast. Or is it too advanced for the masses? Yeah, unfortunately. It's not even advanced, but you know. Let's see. Mario79, greetings. Shay Sade, greetings. Narwa says, everything that happens is happening only to you. Let me say that again. Everything that is happening only to you. Absolutely. I can't even add anything to that. And that does go along with the whole concept of vampirism, right? And we talk about the law of rhythm. Again, read the Kabbalion on that chapter if you need some clarification. The golden rule, right? And not in a spooky karma kind of way. Like I said, when you go up to the realm of cause, there is no separation between this or that. Okay, Sankofa Sound says, I like that. Then how about this? The symbolism of the planets have layers of cause and effect in their meaning, interpretation. In my opinion, give the individual the ability to ascend or descend the pendulum, the less in its polar swing is desired. Yes. You ever check out the Martinist order? I believe I have in the past, but I don't remember anything at this moment. Tony Jules says, man, know thyself. Absolutely. Dara Holland says, facts, Travis. We are living in a realm of instant manifestation. Yes. Narwa says, there's a distinction to be made between fascination and fear. There's the fear of flight or the fear of awe, wonderment, and fascination. I am into this pandemic thing neck deep. I love it, right? Oh my, greetings, Diamond Antenna. Smooth Shaddai says, Dion Fortune wrote some dope fiction books as well. She had a plan for real. She teaches through her fiction as well. Yeah, so the cool thing about her fiction is that she's kind of showing you how the different principles work in action, right? I'm not really a fiction reader, but yeah, her stuff, it's kind of showing you like through the perspective of day-to-day application, low key. Like one thing that she does stress about working with other people in magic is that you've got to have a balance of masculine and feminine, right? For every one guy, you've got to have two females, or for every one female, you got to have two guys. There has to be a balance. And what I've been finding, I don't do this on purpose, but it's like when there's like a pivotal shift in what I'm learning, a female appears that begins to receive and reflect a lot of the same content that I'm receiving. And I don't always communicate to that other person that that's what's going on, but oftentimes we're in this weird synergistic thing where they're receiving my images and I'm receiving clarification from them just through messenger. Like I don't even meet some of you, but I'll be receiving something or channeling something, and it's like you'll get it too, and it goes back and forth. But anyways, when you look at the group dynamics of ritual and magic, there has to be a balance. Somebody in the Facebook group asked, hey, me and my friend are trying to develop our powers together, but it's another guy, so the dynamics there might not be as conducive to the polarity of masculine, feminine, of positive, negative. And it's nothing necessarily sexual. It's just you manifesting in the physical body that you're that way for a reason. And you have a propensity for positive or negative. Something to look into there. That's all. Harv Harry says, how do spirits communicate and how to interact with spirits? So here's the thing. Spirits are already communicating with you. They always have been, and they always will be. The thing you have to remember is, first of all, empty out of your head everything you think you know about this, right? It's not going to happen like in Harry Potter. It's not going to happen like in the horror movies. I mean, it might, but 90% of the time it doesn't. So the physical plane is the last plane of reflection. It's the final plane of manifestation. Everything else happens on the higher planes, the etheric, the astral, the mental, the spiritual, and it trickles down. So energy doesn't have a form. It's the mind that gives energy form. Now, in the astral plane, you're going to conceive of energies as different shapes or objects or symbols. On the physical plane, these same energies have developed enough gravity that they actually manifest as physical things. So everything here in this physical world is an effect. Nothing starts here. Okay, you got to understand that. Nothing starts here. Everything that's here is an effect of energy. So when a spirit communicates with you, it communicates through physical means, which means you're going to hear a song on the radio, you're going to see a road sign on the highway as you're driving, you're going to flip through a magazine and something's going to stick out. Your attention's going to be drawn to specific things in the environment. This is if you're real basic and don't have any of your clair senses developed. So when I say that spirits are communicating with you all the time and you don't realize it, that's exactly what I mean. Even Christians will say, well, I prayed for this and God showed me this and it happened. This is how it happens. Now, when you actually start to meditate and you start to practice your creative visualization, you start to develop your astral sight, your astral sound, right? You can begin to see these things. You'll mostly see them on the astral plane because, like I said, the energy is interpreted by the imagination as a symbol. So you'll see it, right? Now, if you get a little bit more advanced, you can start to see it in the physical, but that is employing the use of the etheric realm overlaid on top of the physical. And that's something that Bunny Queen mentioned in the chat. But don't worry about that. That comes later, if it comes at all. When spirits communicate to you, they communicate through the medium of the physical if you're not sensitive. If you are sensitive, then you'll be able to perceive them through the medium of the etheric. If you're even more sensitive, you'll be able to perceive them through the medium of the astral. And if you're more sensitive with knowledge, you can begin to perceive them in the mental realm. And you'll start to understand more that there is no separation the higher up you go. So that might not be the glamorous answer you wanted, but that's how they communicate. Now, when it comes to the ethereal and astral, sometimes they communicate with you through your dreams, right? Because when you're dreaming, guess where you are? You're in the etheric or the astral plane. And while you're there, you interpret that reality through the imagination. That's why you see wild and crazy adventures that are symbolic. So I hope that answered your question, Harv, Harry. If not, please say more. All right, where we at? Oh goodness, I'm quite behind. I'd hate to scroll and skip, but Can of Mana asks, I've been asking a few magicians their thoughts on this. How do we apply knowledge of sacred geometry into practice? Like knowing numerology and form, etc., and how to use it. So again, we have to understand that there's multiple planes and that symbols represent energies. Now on the basic physical plane, if you're looking at a sacred geometric shape, you're not going to get much out of it. But employing the art of meditation and concentration, also known as dharana, will allow you to set your focus on this shape, and you'll begin to pull out the deeper esoteric occult meanings. In other words, you'll be able to perceive past the physical symbol of that thing and see the energy behind it. Now, if you're able to do astral projection or etheric projection, you can meet that shape on the etheric plane or the astral plane, and again, be able to pull the energy that's behind that shape. Now, it's not that this mystical cube thing is going to cure you of cancer or protect you from coronavirus. You go into these higher planes and you observe this shape and you use your powers of concentration to observe it and go deep into it and pull out the hidden meanings that only a symbol can provide. So yeah, it takes work. This isn't a question that can just be answered like, oh, well, it's going to help you this way. You literally have to go figure it out. How you figure it out is through meditation, through deep observation, deep contemplation. Now, this doesn't just apply to sacred geometry. This applies to anything. Everything here, like I said multiple times in this video, is a result of a cause on a higher plane. We're in the realm of effect, which means that this is an afterthought of an afterthought of an afterthought, right? This is a reflection of a reflection. And in order to see the original image, you've got to look deeper. Again, I hope this answers your question. Tell me if it doesn't. First Eye Vision says, I heard you can control your astral body to move stuff in the physical. Absolutely. It takes a lot of practice. You've got to understand how to manipulate the elements present in your astral body. And by elements, I mean earth, fire, wind, water, and akasha. Understand how to, how to fill that astral body with different amounts of that element to do different things. If you want to know how to do it, read Initiation into Hermetics and get to practicing. It may take you more than a year or 2 or 5. And it really, 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 really depends on your intent. Damon23 says, is it best to deal with trauma before astral traveling? I think you can answer that question. But to help illustrate it, when you go in the astral, some people report seeing scary demons and scary monsters and things that are actually malevolent and terrifying. Well, the thing is, you're going within. So you're not going to see anything terrifying within unless there's something already terrifying within you, right? If you've got parts of you that you're in denial of, that you run away from, parts of you that you're afraid of, parts of you that you ignore and avoid and deny, you better believe they're going to manifest. This is why shadow work is so important before doing any of this fancy shit. You can learn and read about astral traveling and working with demons and all that good stuff, but if you haven't taken the time to work on yourself, you better believe that stuff you hadn't worked on is going to pop up in some ugly shapes. Canamena says, I really want the quadrividium. I hope you get it. Behold the Beast 777 says, your work has helped a lot. You're awesome. Thank you. Bunny Queen, thank you for your donation. I appreciate you. To my gamer occultists, pay attention to sandbox games, which everyone is their own personal hero. Yes. So I was just thinking about that in reading today. A good way to illustrate the element of Akasha is by looking at those sandbox modes in these games, right? If you look at the games, they're already created for you. They got the little environment to interact with, and your character and your abilities and all that stuff. When you go into sandbox mode, you can create anything that the game can do at any point that you choose. That's a lot like the Akasha element, the fifth element. The fifth element is the realm where everything past, present, or future simultaneously exists. And it's up to your consciousness to direct those elements. It's kind of like just imagine like this blank field, this blank matrix, and with your thoughts, you can turn something into fire or water or air or earth. But it's usually not literally the 4 elements. It's the qualities of those elements, which is expansion, contraction, balance, and cohesion. Through those four qualities of matter, everything is created. Sandbox mode. And that is also a description of the astral plane. Oh, yeah. Hanifa says, on your journey, have you ever considered the Enochian path? And does it link with the tree of life? I looked into Enochian briefly. It was too boring for me, so I kept it pushing. I'm sorry. Not really, but, you know. Greetings, Stray Panther. Narwa says, LMAO had to double check that horror movie thing, huh? Yeah. Somebody come get her. She's dancing like a stripper. Hey. Thank you, Bunny Queen. I really hope you enjoy that clip off book. It's it can be pretty deep, but that's probably going to be one you're going to come back to a little bit later on. But yeah, definitely a great one to have. Let's see. Oh goodness, we're reaching an hour. I'll probably have to put an end to this soon. Eclectic Tings, good to see you. Awesome possum. Build to B777 says, ever since I activated my third eye chakra, I've had an intuitive feeling of the apocalypse. Input. Yeah, enjoy. Remember the symbolic nature of these visions, by the way. Nawa says, invocation, evocation, or convocation, in which case you want to establish a dialogue with, say, a virus, or learn its language, its particular kind of knowledge. Goddess Nanu says, Travis, you're pretty smart. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for being the reason. Bunny Queen says, I'm telling you from experience, do not skip shadow work. Mad Titan, peace. Eclectic Ting says, Travis, do you commune with the Orishas? Probably, but not in the form that that system has provided. In other words, do I use that system? No. But all entities have a common source the higher up you go. That's why I say look into the Kabbalah, because every entity will fit there in some way, shape, or form. Doesn't matter what system you use. What matters is that you dedicate yourself to understanding. The information will make its way to you. Don't get caught up in a system, and don't get dedicated to a system. Get dedicated to perceiving reality, truth, right? Because one path doesn't have the whole truth. You're gonna have to look around. You're gonna have to be open, right? Uh-oh. Narwa says, even the worst part of us, i.e. vices, shells, clip-off, are useful and serve us once we get control of them. If for none other than experience, even if you've been beaten, at least you fought. Exactly. And the clip-off does get a bad rap as this terrible place. And, you know, people who do venture into the clip-off usually do for the wrong reasons, because it's edgy and it's dark. Ooh, I'm going to work with the clip-off because no one else does, and I'm dangerous. And I admit that's why I got into it. But you come to learn it's deeper than that. You got to get past ego in order to understand this stuff. So the thing about the clip off is that they call it the shells, right? They call the tree of life a tree with fruit on it. Now, what's going on is that you got to visualize that reality is constantly emanating itself. It's constantly just growing and pushing out. Now, when you plant a seed in the ground, it's a seed, right? Reality is going through several forms of transformation, but you put this seed, which has the potential of potentials within it, right? Within that seed are other trees and other seeds, and it goes on infinitely. But you plant the seed in the ground, and as nature works on it with sunlight and moisture and all that good stuff, something from within that tree breaks through, and now that shell is dead, right? That seed is the shell, that's the clip off. Now out of there, the tree penetrates the ground into the physical realm, right? It was in the unseen, it was in the subconscious, it was in universe A or B or whatever. But that tree, it grows from that seed. Now that seed is just a shell in the ground. The tree is coming up out of the ground and it becomes something else. But you can't have the tree without the seed. It's not about being dark and edgy and evil and, again, summoning spooky demons. It represents the primeval forces behind manifestation, behind the four worlds, behind all the stuff that we've been talking about. Now, at this point, I'm still really trying to figure out a good reason for researching deeply into it. But, you know, like Narwa said, everything serves its purpose. But please don't think that it's just this, you know, spooky, creepy place to creep out Christians. It's not another boogeyman. It's another framework for understanding the principles of reality. Stray Panther 79 says, speaking of the astral plane, in a class where you showed me and others how to absorb, manipulate, and become objects in the astral plane. So yeah, that's actually one that I remember. A lot of people, even more so than before, are saying that they had a dream with me in it. Now, there's a lot of things going on in the astral. What should I say? Just remember that, like I said earlier in this video, in the higher realms, there's energy present, and you interpret these energies through symbol. I really can't say too much. I've already said too much. But yeah, if I'm teaching you something in a dream, pay attention. And if you don't remember when you wake up, that's fine. You got it in your subconscious. The simple fact that you had a dream of me means that you got it. Can of Mana asks, why do people, myself included, laugh intensely and out of control when you download things from the higher realms that you don't understand or can put into logic? Probably because you're very ticklish. Azrael, peace. Chaos Fiji says, I think shadow work happens naturally. You just got to flow with it and not run against it. Yeah, but everyone doesn't have that flow with it attitude. Some people deliberately fight it and run away from it. And this is why you have people that manifest so many enemies in their life. You know, doing occult spiritual work, they still have an enemy to blame. Really, if you're truly doing spiritual work, you start to see the oneness in all things. You shouldn't still be holding on to a boogeyman if you're getting deep into the spiritual work, right? Hey, it is what it is. How can you have peace if you have enemies? But you know, it is what it is. Brown Nature 9 says, which book do you recommend for shadow work? I got a perfect one for you. What book do I recommend for shadow work? Read this, The 7-Day Mental Diet. Read this and actually do it. Because a lot of people buy books, but most of them don't read them. Buy that little short, skinny book. Look how thin it is. You can read this in like 30 minutes, but it has a week's worth of things for you to do. This will get you started on this path of shadow work if you take it seriously, right? It's not a trend. It's not a cool hashtag for Instagram. It's a thing that will change your life. And there's already been people in the group have taken it and I've spoken with, and they have discovered things about themselves that they have not been paying attention to. And they've been given the steps to correct certain things in their life. It's worked for me. So once again, what do you want to know about shadow work? Right here, the 7-Day Mental Diet. It's basic, it's simple. It's not hocus pocus, it's psychology. Where we at? Where we at? Thank you, Bunny Queen, for for what you're doing. I appreciate you. I can't see it, but I know. Bale Gojo says, "Hey Travis, who is your favorite spirit?" The one who manifests as Travis Magus, honestly. What's good, Lamont H? Thank you again, Bunny Queen. Bunny Queen says, "The book I always recommend is Chakras and Their Archetypes. It's very good for emotional shadow work." Whoa. Oh no, that had nothing to do with fisting. I was just making an illustration. Can't get into that kind of stuff. I can feel the things I see sometimes, and I don't think that's something I want to feel. Narwa says, "So one might be a terrible fighter, but has been beaten enough times to know how better than one's opponent can tolerate a single blow." Yes. Yes. And this is why when I play video games, I don't mind losing because I'm learning how not to lose next time. No asks again, Travis, you know anything about controlling large bodies of water in your dreams? I mean, like, what do you want to know? Are you able to achieve lucidity in your dreams? If not, then this isn't really a question that my answer would provide any help for you for. First and foremost, you've got to know how to actually become lucid in a dream before you actually do anything lucid. So to really answer your question, you want to learn how to lucid dream first. But anyways, large bodies of water represent the subconscious mind. It represents emotions. It can also represent a large quantity of people. So in that sense, yes, I do know a lot about controlling large bodies of water in my dreams. Mobla, greetings. Trinity Review says, "I have found that whenever I meditate or go into a trance, my body rocks or sways involuntarily, not violently, by on its own. What is that? No one seems to know." I don't know what the name of it is, but it's entirely natural. I wouldn't worry about it. I keep doing it. It's a sign that you're throwing yourself into trance, right? Your body is becoming more autonomous as your consciousness is starting to integrate with the environment, right? When you go into trance, you're gonna move. It's just like when you throw on some Funkadelic or some James Brown, you can't help but move a little bit. It's the same thing, just to a higher degree. You're going into trance, and that's the point. Oh yeah. Chaos Fiji says, "Yo, that book is $4. Sure is." Bunny Queen says, "Wow, I recommended an emotional shadow work book and you recommended a mental one. Sigh, I can't." Yeah, so there you go with yet another example of this remote communication thing I just explained. Wanda Wisdom, good to see you. Wildcard 999 says, "We all support your work. You give knowledge freely. If only our government was so generous." In due time. Oh yeah, just the other day I evoked Ophiel through you know, got myself a can of peach Red Bull, and he had a lot to say. He had a lot to say. Um, Geez Louise, that man can talk. Wow, yeah, he showed me a lot. He even managed to show me a glimpse of the future, and it became a little bit scary because it's hard to know if this isn't actually a super advanced app where people can look into the past and see what other people were doing through their days. I don't want to get into it. But anyways, he told me a lot of good things about what I'm doing and how it is in alignment with what he was doing. And there's a lot who were teachers but are kind of stale, but will actually be rejuvenated by a lot of these newer people like myself and some of you guys. And that what I'm doing now isn't even for the people that are present, but for those that are going to come a little bit later. So, in other words, don't get so caught up and distracted in today and responses I get from people today or rewards that I may or may not get for today, but to focus on the fact that what I'm doing has amplified results in the future. He's a pretty cool guy, and he does not leave when you want him to. And there's a reason why his symbol is peaches, and I kept singing about strippers during that time frame. You can put two and two together, hopefully. What is this about 33? Queen Tati, greetings. Bale Gojo says, who is Travis Magus as a spirit? LVX777 maybe? Ihr spricht die Stimme der Energie. But what? That book. Nice, nice. Hey Travis, who's your favorite spirit from the Kabbalah? I try not to pick favorites, but it'd probably have to be the spirit of Mercury, since that's where a large quantity of my spirit is from. Damn, you had to ask it in all caps? Mario79 also asks in all caps, bruh, what of Samael and the Mark of Cain? Any knowledge on that? I could say no, very tempted, but yeah, Samael is equivalent to the demiurge. The Mark of Cain would represent those who understand how to use the formula of the demiurge, or rather the formula of the automaton. So now you're going to ask me about that. And to that, I'm going to ask you to do research. Jay Jones says that was deep as fuck. No lie. I feel like that with the music I make. Bunny Queen says he doesn't go away. He's just a mole on your butt cheek. Now have fun. Oh, man. Behold the Beast 777 says, I try to eat as pure as physically possible, no processed. I do this to try to raise my vibrations and have as pure energy flow as possible. Just a fun fact. I felt it important to add. So yeah, the body is not separated from the mind or the spirit. It's connected. So in order to reach the higher levels, there will have to be some purification of the physical vessel. It just makes sense, right? How are you going to be meditating and visiting the realm of cause and changing the world at will if you're down here eating only ramen and Cheetos and Funyuns and Monster? Don't work like that. You are what you eat. Your body literally creates itself out of the food you put in it, as well as the energy, but also the food. Now, there is a way to supersede that. That isn't to say that if that's the only food that you have available, you can't succeed. Of course you can. Intent and will are powerful things. But if you're still out here just eating trash and processed foods only, that is a limitation. Your brain won't even be able to create the proper cells to receive certain types of information. Aye. Travis, any recommended on any book for invoking the death family members? Are you asking about invoking death on a family member or invoking the dead? I'm gonna have to clarify that because it was written in a way that I couldn't really understand. Greetings, Trav. The other day I had a dream. I was teaching someone about the truth of 666 after seeing it tattooed on a female's arm. Any insight? Well, you would have to really analyze your definition of the symbology of 666 and what it means. You'd also have to take in consideration what a female represents to you and also which arm it was on. It has a lot to do with feeling. It's a very personal thing. Stray Panther 79 says, LOL, okay, now I get why you'd put peaches on Ophio's altar. I got a peach tea that I'm about to grab, that's for sure. Wildcard999 says, how do you know where you're from? How can I find out where I'm from? Know thyself, right? There's a lot of work you have to do. It's not like I can just say, hey, bam, and you got it. You got to put the pieces together. Now, first off, you'd study the Kabbalah, Tree of Life, and you study the different symbols associated with the different Sephiroth. Mercury has a lot to do with the teacher, right? It has a lot to do with the communicator, just like a Gemini, right? The energy is represented in an androgynous fashion. It's not too masculine, it's not too feminine, right? You gotta look at all the different spheres and what the energy represents in each one. Also, you wanna look at your natal chart and see what types of elemental planetary influences have to do with the entity that comprises as you. You gotta look into all these things. Take an analyzation of yourself. Who are you, right? What do you do on a regular basis? What do you do when no one's looking? What do you think? What is the flavor of your energy? Take all this into consideration and then compare it with the symbols that you've seen with the planets and with the Tree of Life. I don't know you, so I can't tell you what you are. But if you look at your astrology and you study the Kabbalah, start to put two and two together. KP, good to see you, brother. Tammy Blake, greetings, greetings. What's good, Dreamwise? Sylvan Freddy says, we are God in the flesh, the all. So do we still have a destiny? Why would that take away a destiny? Yes, you have a destiny. You have a destination. And it is to return to what you are. See, the thing is, things go to their respective place eventually. The part of you that is God will return to God, and the part of you that is of this earth will return to this earth. Now, the thing with you is, if a lot of your mental association with what you call you is identified with this body, well, you're gonna have a hard time letting this body go back to Mother Earth. You might even go along with it. So when we study and practice the spiritual stuff, we're aligning our vibration with that which is higher. So when the time does come for this body to be of no use, we don't stay here with it and weep. We happily and excitedly ascend and go to where we're supposed to go. It's up to you. It has nothing to do with, you know, you stealing something or lustfully thinking about a member of the opposite or same sex. It has nothing to do with that. Stray Panther 79 says, what are good books for beginner channelers? Well, there's a book that I have in PDF form, and I can't remember the name of it. Damn. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it. It's on my phone, and if I leave this thing, then I won't be able to come back to it. If you have me on any other social platform, message me and I'll send you the screenshot of that PDF. Trap Talk TV, greetings. Patchwork says, I plan to start fasting tomorrow. I'm preparing myself for the gate walking ceremony. Anyone here who works with the Necronomicon? Oh yeah. Good, good. Throw yourself into it, but also stay grounded. Don't get too lost. That ceremony was very scary for me because it was one of my first path workings that I'd done out of a grimoire. I found a really nice website that helped give me some insight to it. Again, I can't remember the name. It's been so long. But if you look up Necronomicon, there's a guy who does like this blog, and he's been doing it for years, and he's like completely dedicated to the Necronomicon. Can't remember his name though. You can find it if you search diligently enough. Bunny Queen, thank you for this unicorn. Is it 333? Oh, I missed it. Narwa says, wait, what's all this favorite spirit mess? This isn't a fashion show. There are no likes or dislikes. There's no wall, and you don't get to block or delete your experiences. Pretty much. Dylan Big Crane says, do you know a thing or two about Native American extraterrestrial origins? I relate to the serpent. No. Peace, Bunny Queen. Hecate Goddess, good to see you, good to see you. Wildcard999 says, I have you on Twitter. I appreciate your Twitter posts and information you provide. Wow, I'm on Twitter. Didn't even realize that. If possible, you might want to follow my Instagram. That's mostly where I do stuff. Yeah, and on my stories, I post a lot of stuff like pages of what I'm studying and my notes and little insight pieces that come here and there. Just because Instagram is a lot quicker than YouTube, so if something pops up, I go ahead and post there on my story. But yeah. Jonathan Smith Bay, greetings, greetings. Behold, the B777 says, I'm still confused about spirits. If ego is disconnected from our consciousness after death, then how come spirits can still remember? Is it like energetic download of knowledge into consciousness? Okay, so a lot of spirits are actually, one way to think of it is just a huge collection of data, like a website. And you can access this thing. It doesn't like you or dislike you. It's just information that can be accessed. But in regards to a human being, you can be segmented. You are segmented. In this vessel of a body, you're all these different aspects in one expression. Now, when you pass, all those different aspects go back to where they came from. Now, people who have a difficult time transitioning from the physical to the etheric or astral, they kind of linger. They kind of linger on those planes. And it's in those cases that they experience a very slow dissolving death unless somebody helps them transcend. But in that case, yes, you can have people whose aspects reside on multiple planes. It actually isn't even that difficult. Somebody come get her. She's dancing like a stripper. Hey, somebody come get her. Narwa asks, and just what was the Necronomicon working like for you? Looking back, 30 years, I'd say it was challenging. I would have to say that was one of the experiences that really helped me get over fear of working with demonic spirits. The energy of the Necronomicon was definitely very palpable. That was one of the few experiences that I actually felt a physical thing, like stuff falling off of shelves. But because I wanted to know, because I really wanted to figure it out, I pressed through all the fear and made it through. So that really helped me to see that these things aren't anything to be afraid of, that the fear is mostly an obstacle to get past. So naturally going to the Goetia, I kind of already got past those steps of getting spooked by stuff falling off of shelves and people getting sick and falling and busting my knee or whatever. All right, so yeah, I think that I communicated what I wanted to communicate. I just wanted to give you guys a little update since I've been gone for quite some time. I've been nose deep in these books. I could have said something else. But the astral plane, I'm really studying to see if there's any way I can help to explain the different aspects of it and its relation to our magical work. Truly, most of our rituals take place on the astral plane. As above, so below, right? We do the physical correspondence to emulate what's going on the higher planes of cause, right? So it's not that your candle is special, it's not that your incense is special. It's a representation of what's going on a higher plane. So, yeah, I would definitely continue doing your research, right? I'm only here just to kind of share what I know. I'm by no means your end all be all source. Please, for the love of God, pick up that book that you bought, open up that PDF that you downloaded so frivolously, and study for yourself, dig for yourself, contribute to this conversation, add something that I don't know, right? Because I'm not an expert. I'm pretty damn good, but I'm not the expert. Well, I mean, I guess I am the expert, but hey, we're in this together. Join the MagusSociety.com. It's free. This is where we hang out, have some discussions. As a matter of fact, it's Tuesday, so we have a Magus movie night where we watch a movie like Mystery Science Theater 3000 and pretty much pick apart the different occult things that happen in it. We just watched The Ninth Gate. Before that, we watched They Live. Yeah, go to the website to see what we're watching tonight. We watch it through Twitch. But yeah, themagussociety.com. And if you want to be involved with the mastermind discussion group where we actually talk about what we're studying and how we put it into practice, go to themagusacademy.com. And that's the membership. We meet every Thursday night at 8 p.m. So yeah, oh yeah. This is TK Trev. Wait, let me see if there's any more questions that I can answer in the short amount of time that we have left. Greetings, bot. Good to see you. He says, is there another ways to use the magnetic energy in my hands besides healing, like astral travel or manifestation? Yes. So you use the different energy centers in your body mostly to accumulate energy, and then you'd use your hands as one of the different funnels to send that energy out, right? The major energetic centers are the stomach, which is the seat of power, the heart center, which is the seat of emotive energy, and the mind, which is where you have the cognitive energy. So those are the three primary energetic centers. Now, before you do any ritual, you want to really cultivate the energy within these centers through breathing techniques and through visualization. And depending on what ritual you do, you can either express that energy through the stomach center, through the heart center, through the third eye center, or through the palms and fingertips. It can be done to heal. It can be done for anything. Whatever you do in magic for, when you send that energy out, you can be Goku about it. Be Doctor Strange about it. It's mostly visualization. But it is a very effective channel to transfer energy and to receive energy. King David says, looking forward to the next book study. Yeah, I kind of want to touch again on Dion Fortune's Mystical Kabbalah, but we'll see, we'll see. Wildcard 999 says, we love you, Trav. You have a strong and wise spirit, and you give knowledge, the greatest of all gifts, to others. You have helped me to grow tremendously. I've been following you since I was 17. Goodness gracious. Four horsemen in relation to the four elements. It could be, but they mostly represent four astrological signs. Yeah, they do represent the four elements, but not the fixed elements. I believe they represent the mutable elements. Darth Vega says, what would you say the astral representation of this lockdown is? Well, before you change something, you kind of have to, well, say on a computer program, before they release the update, they kind of have to isolate it, right? Before any change, there has to be a stop. It's not all negative, right? Lockdown implies that this is something forced upon you. This is something that you've been asking for. This is something that we've all been asking for, whether you can consciously admit it or not. If you didn't want it, then it wouldn't be manifesting right now. We as a collective manifested this. The negative interpretations of what's going on are plentifully abundant, but I would advise you to seek for the positive interpretations of this thing. Matter of fact, I would advise you to not look at the news's interpretation of this and not look at other wild people on YouTube and Facebook. I would recommend you take the time to sit down and meditate and contemplate this thing. Get rid of everyone else's explanation. I don't want to give you an explanation of this. It's not this end of the world doomsday thing that we all wish it would be. We're not so lucky. It's not the end of the world yet. It's coming, but not yet. Meditate on it. Don't look for somebody to tell you what it is, especially these jackasses on the internet. Holy shit. Emily Lee says, random question. What is the difference between conjuring and summoning? Okay, so now we're talking about the differences of words. I mean, same thing in my book, conjure, summon. I'm sure the definitions have, different words for it, but it's essentially in spirit the same thing. You're bringing forth some spirit or thing that isn't present. Thank you, Narwa. I respect you immensely. Wanda Wisdom says, what was the question where mutable signs was the answer? Someone asked about the four horsemen's relation to the four elements. I don't have a precisely clear answer for that, but I do know that they relate to the elements in some way. They mostly relate to the planets than the elements. Wanda Wisdom says, many think it's a personal affront on the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is known for being detached. Yes, absolutely. And also, this can be seen as an incubation period. This can also be seen as a direct transition into how the future is going to be. I mean, we've already mentally prepared ourselves by being so wrapped up in our phones and social media. Hey, it is what it is, man. But what I am saying is, don't spend your time surfing the internet looking for people to explain microchips and whatever crazy shit you want to be entertained by, because you're getting out of the realm of educating yourself and getting into the realm of entertaining yourself. Remember that the subconscious mind, you're feeding what you want to produce in your reality. What you focus on expands. Just as much as there's all this madness out there, there's also beauty, right? As you can see, I'm not posting anything about that because there's literally better things for me to focus my attention on. And I promise you, there's better things that you can focus your attention on, right? Do what thou wilt. Nice. Noah says, I do. The relation is the number 4. Yeah. So if it has the number 4, then most of the time it does relate to the 4 elements, right? Wanda Wisdom says, I feel like this is a great cosmic shift where the great mana can fall. Perhaps hidden pale powers that be do not want the masses to benefit from those cosmic downloads, hence stay in. And people can want or not want or whatever, but what will happen will happen. This is another reason why to not be worried and afraid about some spooky boogeyman. No boogeymans here. If you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, please, you should know by now, we're not worried about things to fear. We're worried about building solutions. We're worried about improving who we are, right? Getting to know more about the truth, about the reality, right? And anything that deals with division and antagonist is in the realm of illusion. Hanifa, thank you for that donation. 777 with 77 viewers. Interesting. All right, Chaos Fiji, you gotta go. I gotta go too. About to wrap this up. Wonder Wisdom says most critical thinkers tend to be study addicts. Thus, I suggest whatever resonates as truth, keep. Whatever doesn't, discard. Most do that reflexively anyway. Yes. Hanifa says, appreciate the work you do, bro. Thank you. And in the words of Wanda Wisdom, there's only 3 things that won't hide for long: the sun, the moon, and the truth. So I'll see you next time, right? I'm about to get back to studying. I've been studying for since 3 a.m. But I'm gonna play some Xbox after this. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. As always. Peace.